All right, hey guys, Sam here with you. Friday midday here. This will be a relatively brief update on Bitcoin here. Just did a very short one over on Twitter, but for those of you here on YouTube may not have caught that. We've got a little more time here without the 2-minute time limit on Twitter. So I've got a 4-hour here. This is on Coinbase Pro. Now, we've been over this a couple of times here. So just to quickly review here, I've just got the wolf range on here. So we can see we've got one range here that I've outlined with these two white lines here. Then here's 50% of the range. You can see how this is continuing to be it's either the resistance or it's the support, depending on which way we're coming at it. It's right. Last test was at support. And then we have this set of median lines here, if you can see. So as I outline this here, come here. So you can see that, just so you see here are the pivots, here's the tag of the median line. So we have the market geometry is very, 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 very good in here. I mean, this, and I'm not showing you all of those that are in here, but this is a very technical pivot here. Additionally, if we just work off of the swing low here on the idea that we get an impulse here, and it can be interpreted different ways, but it certainly has the potential to play as an impulse. If I just take the length of that move here, you can see as we hit that median line, we were tagging the 618. So you'd have an additional, of course, you'd have a potential, if I drag it on here, golden corner pocket here. The premise being that if this pivot holds, we have 80% probability of making the median line. So here's our pivot. As long as that holds, well, here's a target, here's a target. We've got lots of targets up there. But this will be a key pivot. Now, and I've shown this here, taught this before, but if we do break this, so for example, let's say we were to come down here and get to the 786, that would invalidate this corner pocket, but we'd have a secondary set of pivots down here, again, that you'd be setting up here, as long as this pivot holds, you'd maintain that 80% of getting to the median line. Maybe we make it here, it could be further, but that's the idea here. If we break here, it doesn't necessarily invalidate a bullish count. So I'm going to pull that off just for the look here. So this is a little bit suspect here as we've stayed in this range. It's unless we're going to get a fairly good pop out of here, it's hard to see anything other than corrective action here. Now again, caveat, if we blow out of here and we get some legs over the weekend, then you could maybe come back here and think, oh, okay, A, B, but the C, if you look at the symmetry of it, so just look at this correction. So if this were to be, if we were trying to go A, B, C, well, that's not quite as good, even though this is the lower low and this is the one that tags the median line. Well, what's the alternate? Well, let me zoom in there a little bit more. So what are our alternates? Well, this could be the A, this could be the B, and this could be the C. So we have a very shallow, in effect, a truncated C. Very tough to get 5 out of that. So the other possibility that I think has to be given significant weight here, because it plays better with the symmetry. If this is going to play as an A, B, C of the B, that would set up potentially this move down here where we'd run back into this median line here. And we'd set up with both some market geometry and perhaps a test down here at the 786. So you get this nice little confluence zone down here. Now this is, of course, if additionally we'd have another set of median lines. We're going to use this as this is our technical pivot. Now I don't know, I don't have this pivot yet. So because of the steepness of this, I'd be inclined to quickly move to one of the modifiers. That may be too much, so then we'd look at a modified shift. Well, so, we'll wait and see what kind of pivot we get here. So to try and identify that, let's see. So I'm going to pull this off. So if this is going to go A, B, C, there's a couple of things that we can look at for tendencies of patterns that repeat. So 100 to 1272. Let me get this off here. Okay. So let me get right on that pivot. Okay, so if we were going to, so typical for an ABC, very common between the 100 and the 1272. 1618, a bit more extreme for the C of a B, but of course we do see them. So here, look at this confluence here. So I've got the 50% of the range and the 100 right on top of each other, but I could really fatten this up and say anywhere in this range, this is a reasonable candidate for that B wave. Of course, we're going to look at what the retrace would be looking like coming back. So look at this nice confluence here. So we have this pocket here. So if this is going to come up as the B, well, we're coming right into, well, we have the parallel of the larger set of median lines. We've got the 100, the 1272, very common range for a C if this is going to play as the C of the B. And we've got the golden zone here. So you've got a lot of things suggesting that this is an area that might set up. Well, that target comes back down here. So you see we're stacking again. So if I put it all back together from this low, get right on that line to this pivot, we get this nice confluence pocket down here, and let's get right on it. So, and additionally, we get the upsloping trend line. So we have this range down here. Let's call it 35.23 to 34.84. So you got about a 40-point range down here that is really a strong target. If, now of course, if we're going to roll over, you know, maybe it happens over the weekend. Weekends are prone to create some volatility. So this is a real, shit, sorry guys, I'll have to edit that out. Okay, so we've got potentially now a B going in here, brings us down for the C. This is the key pivot, but bull count stays alive. You know, technically, as long as we stay above this pivot, ideally you'd want to see, if we're going to roll over and come back down here and test some of this down here, you'd want to see that 786 hold, and you'd certainly want to see this median line hold, because of course the bearish alternate can interpret this very differently, which is part of what's making it so difficult to take a position with any confidence here. So a bull, as I am, is going to see 1, 2. Right, and I will maintain that position until this low is violated. I still think we have a 1, A, B, C into a 2, and potentially now the 1 and the correction going in of the second 1, 2. So we'd have 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so that's my bullish bias. Well, we can't ignore the bearish count. What a great example this is here. Now I've switched exchanges. I'm over here on Bitfinex. But just looking at this swing high to low, let me get that pivot right on that corner. Let's make sure I'm right on there. Okay, so look what we do here. So we come from this low, we tag the golden zone, come down. Now we tag the 38, come down. Now this is likely a front run on the 50. So you can see algo is just at play here. It's just perfect. Now additionally, we've got a perfect tag here of this set of median lines as we hit the second algo target. So here's the first algo target. They blew right through that. Here's the tag of the median line. So this corner pocket here reaches its 80% potential here, bounces back down again, but you see here the second algo target as literally to the tick as we tag the median line. Well, now the bounce away from it, we haven't gotten too far here, but there's definitely a bearish count here that you cannot ignore. So very reasonable to think that if you're a bear, to think, well, all we've done is an ABC. So this can be interpreted, because there's enough subdivision here, this could be an ABC of the C here. So this would give us a candidate for the 4. So it's not as strong a candidate for the triangle as it once was, but it's still, you can't discount it. So we still have this candidate in play here. So this can still come down here. So the reason I think we're less likely to get this, if this is going to go as 1, 2, and we're going to come down here, well, this is, as I was just showing in the bull count, if we break here, well, then this would be the true third, so we'd get something like this. So if we were going to get 1, 2, we come down for the 3, now we're tagging the median line, maybe the 4 here, not threatening the 1, we come down, we get a 5. This puts us 2,800, 2,600, so that's still very much in play. We can't discount it, and we can't ignore it. So you gotta, it's almost either you pick a side or you just recognize that there is no way to be really confident in one count or the other, because it just could very easily go either way. So, you know, not unreasonable to suggest that this is not the time to be adding if you have a position in the market. Not a great time to be adding. And perhaps you make the same argument that it's not a great time to be looking for a new position in the market until we get some resolution out of this range that we're stuck in, because this triangle as a 4 is still very technically valid. Now, what you'd have to consider here on the bearish count, if we try and give some symmetry to this, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, well, we can do a couple of things here to look for fib relationships that would be consistent with what you might anticipate if we're going to get a true impulse here. So if we've got 1, 2, well, it's common to take the length of the 1, project from, and we can't be definitive about whether that is the 4, but if that is our 4, and this is our ABC, and we've gone 1, 2, well, the length of the 1 here, so I've got it here. Here's the, well, let me mark it here. So the length of the 1 here. Now I'm projecting from the 4 here. If you can, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, get it right there. So there we go. Okay, so if I wiggle these, so I put this right on the 4, on the proposed 4, so ABC. Well, very common would be 100% the length of the 1. That would put us down here at 1600. We've got an algo target down here at, call it 2100. So if you look here, if this is 1, 2, well, if we're going to finish that, and I know this is hard to see, if we're going to finish this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to go to common swing relationships as we look down here, well, that's going to be a very shallow 5. Not that it's outrageous to only do the 618, the length of the 1. So this would be, that would put us at 2600. That number's come up a few times before relative to some of these swings here. So this would be probably the best case. For bulls, long-term bulls, the lesser of the evils would be that we'd end up, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. The less bearish would be that we'd stall at the 618, the length of the 1. More common would be 100%, which would put us down here at the negative 100. So we'd have some, we've got more confluence, and then additionally you've got this median line down here as well, as I just drew up off of the 1, 2. So you've got some ranges down here. So then you look at this and go, well, if that's 1, 2, unless I get a big extension in the third, the ultra bearish, which I think is still possible but less likely, is that we'd just be putting in the 1, 2, and maybe 3, 4, and 5 are still in. Well, here's 0. So some of that, we're just likely to break down here at some point. Here's 0 down here. So if we're going to the second algo target, that's 350. Yeah, it's possible. I think that's less likely. Here we'd be down here at 1600. So it's a little bit of a question mark as to, well, if this is 1, 2, we are sure going to need a big 3 to maintain the symmetry that would allow us to get that low without either a big extension in the third or a significant extension in the fifth, or perhaps both. So trying to put that back together and then looking at the size here and some of these targets, well, it's going to be interesting to see how we resolve here. So this would be my primary, this would be secondary, but again, can't kill it. So how we resolve here, coming back, trying to put all this back together, how we resolve and come out of this range, going to be very telling as to where the next, let's call it 60 to 120 days of Bitcoin look likely to go. So the first test will be, as we come up here, can we break through some of the sell side algos here? So we need to get through that 65 up here. Ideally, of course, if this is going to go, we're trying to break this wave 1 high, but this would not surprise me at all. So I'm not suggesting to be a seller here. I might be suggesting or implying that if you're inclined to do it, if we do get this move down here from the B down to the C, this would be something that I would look at very seriously as a potential area to be a buyer. So even if you just look here, so your pivot here would be your absolute, I'm definitely wrong. We invalidate the bullish count here. So if we were to get this kind of price action, I would pay strong attention to this kind of confluence down here as I put it all back together here. Remember, we've got an algo target sitting there as well. So if we come down here to this 3,500 range, well, let's say it this way. I would certainly want to have an alert going off there. Note here we've got a low volume node there as well. I would certainly want to be alerted to the fact that we were coming down there. I've got Bitcoin in front of me all day, but if you were out and about, that might be a place to set an alert. So if you wanted to act on that, that's not a bad place to be looking for a potential long with a reasonable risk expectation here. Stop. Clearly, we could let the market prove us wrong here. If we take out this pivot, this entire bull case is invalidated. So if you see this roll over here, it's not time to despair for bulls. It potentially now is even a better entry for a bigger kick. And you can just look at the last one too, right? We went very deep on this one. I think this was, we pushed the 887 on this. Oh, pardon me. So here's 786 here. So interestingly, we could go 786. We broke it, but we held the 786. So it's not unreasonable to think, as we've fought through this range, that we could come down that low. So the 786 here, following the prior 786, not an unreasonable location to be looking for it. All right, so that's an area that I would be really paying attention to if we start to roll over. Now, if we just start to shoot higher, well, we don't have to worry about that. If this pivot gets broken and we start pushing through that, then the bull count's going to solidify more and more. All right, so that's probably enough. I don't know what else I can add there because we've just analyzed this to death. Just the last thing I'll just remind you of, we still have this contest going on. So this link is, well, it's both on our Twitter. It's a pinned tweet at the top of our Twitter page. The link will be underneath this video. So if any of you are still interested, this goes on until March 20th. So if you haven't enrolled, you just click that link. Now this is, you'll be taken here. And of course this shows 0 entries because this would be as though I were doing it. So obviously I'm not in it. So, but first prize is 2 months of free membership. Second is 1 month. Third is 2 weeks. You do have to log in. You do have to create an account, just an email and your Twitter handle. And then every time you tweet, retweet, like, that gives you a new entry. That's how you improve your odds of winning. And then in addition to that, for those of you looking at this going, boy, this is just sideways, boring me to tears. Is there another place I might go look for some trading? Well, attached to this in return for your enrollment here, because we like you to participate, we're going to send you a new training series on Forex trading that is, it's really oriented towards people that are perhaps new to FX or have maybe dabbled a little bit, but are really coming from the crypto space. So there's a lot of commonality there. So I think that will make sense for you. So that's just a bonus in addition to enrolling here. We'll send you all of those videos. And of course, there's no charge here. There's no cost to do this. Totally free to enter and pretty decent giveaway. All right, guys. All right. With that, we'll see you next week.